Hey guys, welcome back to Tarot Talks. We're going to do the Hanged Man, number 12. So number 12 in numerology is the essence of the one and the two, but not combined. They're separated. So their energies, which are completely opposite, are kind of negating each other, and they're causing a pause or a halt in creativity. So this is multiplication of 3, which is really funny because leading up to this video, every single day at work, I saw 3333 in customers' purchases, which was crazy. Like, how many times can you get 3333? Like, it's just nuts. So, and I was like, oh my God, I'm working on the Hangman 12. This is crazy. And as I started thinking more and more and taking my time with this card, so many things began to open up in my mind. 12 is conflicts in numerology because this masculine and feminine energy are not working together. So we're not able to create at this time because of inner conflict. And what further symbolizes the conflict is the Pisces rulership of this card, which is the two fish swimming against each other. They're swimming in opposite ways. They're not working together. It's kind of like a yin and yang, but yin and yang, they're working together. In Pisces, they're conflicting because they're also supposedly swimming upstream. So there's an essence of that hard time. There is a blockage, some sort of blockage that is causing a halt. So in exoteric terms, when you get this card, like book meaning is just going to be like, there's going to be pauses, there's going to be a wait, blah, 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 hang-ups, that type of thing. Like things aren't going to be moving, or like you need to put yourself in solitude and think about things. But what it really is, it's the 12th house, the house of illusions, again, ruled by Neptune. So this is a watery card. It's a very feminine card. It's a very mystical card. So when we talk about illusions, we talk about it like a trick of the eye, and we think about like magicians, and we're like, it looks like something's there that's not, or something's happening that's not. Like they're making us see something happen that's actually not happening. So when we think of illusions, we think of something that's not there. But the trick, the grand illusion, is what this is alluding to is the things that are there that we cannot see, not things that aren't there that we can see in an illusion, but things that are actually there that we cannot see. And I know that's kind of confusing, but chew on that for a second. So this is the thought world, like the world of the high priestess. You have to understand the world of the high priestess is the womb, the watery area where matter comes together. So if we're thinking about the gestation of a baby, it's like everything's kind of being pulled together into this one like electric little seed, and things are developing in that way. He's getting a glimpse into that world so he can resolve his inner conflict. I almost feel like his head should be like dipped in water in this, almost like he's suspended on the cross and his head is submerged in water, because he's getting a glimpse of this magical world. And again, there's so many layers. There's inversion, how we actually see everything backwards first before we process it, and that's a fact about how our eyes process information. So because we're seeing everything backwards first, and then it flips it around and processes it, how much is getting filtered out? So again, things that are there that we cannot see. And we have the symbolism in the inverted triangle that his leg is making, the symbol of water, the downward pointing triangle. And again, if you pull the triangles apart in the Star of David, and this is another symbol that's like so layered and so packed, because you have what I'm about to talk about now, which is as above, so below, but you also have all of the symbols of the elements if you pull it out. So this is, again, the inversion. This is talking about the reflection that we are from something greater that we don't understand. So when a human looks in a pool or a river and sees its reflection, we're actually the reflection. We're not the human looking in the pool. And that's what this card is trying to tell you on a very, very deep, deep, deep level. So we talk about having these psychic experiences and things like that. And again, this is alluding to a lot of times people that live charmed lives don't really get in touch too much with their spiritual side, like to where they're wanting to get into altered states, or just it's happening to them and they're having these paranormal experiences, or like experiences like epiphanies, or talking, channeling, talking with spirits, things like that. A lot of times we have to suffer some type of traumatic experience to gain access to that world. So the hanging is the suffering. That was the sentence from justice. And in more believable terms, we can talk about suffering through someone's death and having them come visit you. Like that pain, that sorrow that we suffer through, we wouldn't be able to touch that world of death if we didn't suffer that experience. So that happens a lot. I know people who have gotten into accidents and had head trauma and have a whole other pathway open up in their brain after that. Once they're healed, like they have paranormal experiences, they're able to see a world that we're not able to see. People who survive childhood abuse, a lot of sexual abuse survivors who had it done to them when they were little, again, it opens up some type of channel within them and helps them connect to the spiritual world. So there's a lot of information on that out there, but this card is talking about the suffering to get you to some type of connection with a higher being. And then we have the astrological sense, to where the birth chart is the cross of matter. So the soul, it's the caption of the soul, the birth chart. Okay, if we could take a caption in time of a soul being kind of scooted into the world or shot into the world, that is your snapshot. And it's a circle with a cross inside of it, and the cross inside of it is called the cross of matter. We have four points of your cross, which is your ascendant sign, which is the first house, the 10th house, which is the MC, the 4th house, which is the IC, and then the 7th house, which is the descendant. Okay, those are the four important points on your birth chart, because those are going to talk about major aspects in your life, and it's your karma, basically. So your soul, SOUL is how we spell it, but SOL, which is sun, is your sun on the cross, and you're coming here to resolve your karma. So you're suffering for your sins. You're going to go through all these maybe traumatic, terrible, hard, rough experiences so you can pay for your sins. So there's another thing there with the allegory of Jesus and the cross. We also have the mythology of Odin hanging himself from the tree of Yggdrasil. And he does that for 9 days. He also spears himself in the side, which is a Jesus thing. And he's fasting for 9 days, and he rips out his own eye. And at the end, the river, or the whatever body of water that is, it's called Erd, that the tree was growing out of, they yielded the runes to him. So he came back extremely enlightened after this horrible experience of suffering with the runic alphabet, and not only their meanings, but their essences, their magical properties, and understanding of those things. So yeah, this is a Piscean card. There's always an air of suffering with Pisces. Pisces are the most, they're the most likely for addictions, depression, emotional issues, that type of thing, because they have that natural inner conflict, that conflict in the water inside of them. So that was basically all of the things packed into this card. There's so much to think about, and we can go on and talking about it for days. Like how his hands are tied behind his back. Like it had to have been a surrender of some sort, the sentence. It's almost like he's being knocked down a notch, because the perfected human has to attain some understanding of humility before he becomes close to God. The reason why death is the next card is because this is initiation. So the initiation, if you think about Skull and Bones, if you think about Freemasonry, there's always some type of death ritual before you're initiated into the mysteries. So again, this is a very mystical card. Neptune is a very mystical planet, watery, and again, like the illusions and the mysteries of the watery world of the Empress. This is the same world that connects to the moon and that dark aspect, and it's understanding that and getting a great understanding of the world that we can't see before he can move on into the path of the Fool. He has material down pat, the material world. Because if you line up the 0 through 9 card, you'll see the Hermit turning around, shining his light onto matter. And he's also teaching what he knows, but he's mastered the material world. And now he has to understand the internal world, which is also the same as the cosmos, because so within, so without, as above, so below. Again, with the tree of Yggdrasil, we also have the imagery of as above, so below. If you look that up, you'll see a tree growing upward and a tree growing downward. It's just like the tree of life in Kabbalah. Let's see, what else can we talk about? And if you look again at the imagery, his crown's been stripped away. It's replaced with a radiant circle. And this is alluding to death. The death card in the next card, the imagery, you're going to see him mowing down a priest, rich people, poor people. Like your riches ain't on you anymore. They're going to be in you. It's going to be the light of knowledge, which is going to be the thing that sets you aside from everybody else. The thing that is no one can take away from you. That is your riches, your experiences, your knowledge of God, your knowledge of the other world, an enlightened being. But again, the cross is blooming and his hands are tied behind his back because he surrendered. So there's something that's going to be taken from this. This is a beautiful suffering, as opposed to like maybe the 5 of Pentacles where, you know, you're fucked up, you're on crutches, you're poor, you ain't got shit. People ain't letting you in the church. You can't eat, you know, bad times. This isn't bad times. This is a period of suffering to gain something that's greater than yourself, or something that's so much better than what you're doing now. So much shit to chew on with the Hanged Man. And again, death is just a very appropriate card to come after this, because after you've been initiated into the mysteries, after you've had some type of experience that where the other side touches you, or you're touched by the other side, you are changed forever. There is no going back. You're either traumatized or you're tainted and you're searching for the mysteries for the rest of your life, which is kind of how I am. So I just think this card is fascinating. It's very, very magical. It's very, very symbolic. And it's just crazy how many things you can unpack from it. So that was the Hanged Man. Next, we're going to move on to death. And I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of this card. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, comment, like. If you have any suggestions on what other things you would like to see from me, I'd love to hear from you. Again, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.